Magik issue number 4 from Marvel Comics. So we start off this issue with Magik and Dani Moonstar on I think that's called a gondola, fighting a bunch of demons. And in the last issue, Magik was sent to, not Limbo, but it kind of appeared like Limbo. It's a space that Liminal, the main antagonist, he created. And Liminal kind of had a tragic history. He kind of is similar to Magik, and basically he wants to stop his loneliness. He wants to share his new life, and he plans on taking over. And he wants basically like a queen. He wants someone to stand by his side that can understand what he's been through. So he wants Magik to be that person. But Magik doesn't want to. She's like, I can understand the pain and stuff you've gone through, but I can't condone your actions. And so Liminal is basically like, well, I'm going to keep you trapped here unless we can make this deal. And so they make a deal where Liminal would basically break the chains that Magik has over Darkchild. And I'll let you go because I know eventually you're going to succumb to Darkchild. And Magik makes that deal because, one, she doesn't want to be trapped. She's been trapped before in Limbo and she never wants to be trapped again. And two, she believes that she might be able to control Darkchild. She doesn't need the help of the powers, like the chains, to rein that in. And so we have Dani, who seems to be upset at that fact. Magik is basically saying that, I can handle this on my own. Dani is saying that, I don't understand why you would allow him to destroy your mental barriers against Darkchild. It let you escape his domain, but he only gave you 3 weeks to stop him. That's not enough time. Maybe if you had stayed in Liminal's reign just a bit longer, you could have come up with a different idea to escape. And Magik is like, you want me to stay trapped? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? I was trapped before. I will never be trapped again. I refuse. And yeah, throughout this, I guess we get a sense that they're friends. I will be honest, I'm not all that familiar with Dani Moonstar. Even as a kid, when I was a huge Marvel fan, I read a bunch of their stuff. I didn't read much from Dani Moonstar. I believe Dani Moonstar was more associated with the New Mutants. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she was usually like in that series. She was more associated with that group, and I'm not familiar with the New Mutants all that much. I never really read much of them. I would read like other stuff. I would read Avengers and Spider-Man and X-Men and things like that, but Fantastic Four, but I never really read too much of New Avengers, so I don't know all that much about Dani Moonstar. I do think her powers are kind of cool though. She has like psionic powers. I guess she can create or manifest arrows because it doesn't look like she has a quiver of any kind. And so she can create like psionic arrows, which is kind of cool. Like, I'm one of those people that I've always been a fan of like ranged characters. Like, when it comes to video games, if it's a fantasy game, I always pick like the rogue class or the ranger class. Like, whatever class allows me to shoot with bows from a distance, that's usually the class I go with. If it's a more modern day setting or a setting with firearms, I usually pick like the sniper class. I don't know what it is. I love the whole like picking off enemies from a distance. I love the whole range fighting. So to have a character using like a bow and arrow, like, that's kind of cool in my opinion. And the fact that not only can she create like psionic arrows, which reminds me of the Quincy from Bleach, but also the fact that she can have her opponents experience like their worst fears, which again is kind of cool ability. As someone who suffers from a lot of anxiety issues, that can be a very powerful weapon. Basically making your opponent experience their worst fears. That sounds very strong. So yeah, don't know much about her character, but what little I see of her here, it looks kind of cool. Like, I like her abilities. But she is part of the society called the Society of the Eternal Dawn. And I don't think that's a society that exists in regular Marvel continuity. I think that was a society created just for this series. And Dani is a part of it. Cal is a part of it, and his grandma was a part of it. And she is, I guess, a member now. And because she's a member, they are able to give her this bow that allows her to pierce demons. So again, that's kind of cool. So we just have them teaming up and fighting demons, and along the way they're bantering. Basically, there's some references to them being friends and, coming up with moves together when they were 16 and just their friendship. And then there's also moments where they're kind of arguing with each other. Well, it's more like Magik. Magik is very easily agitated, and she feels like Dani's not trusting her. But eventually they're able to fight these demons. A demon comes and slashes the wires, causing them to fall. And I guess Dani is able to use her bow to create like almost like a zip line that she uses to swing to slow her descent. I don't know how that works, but Magik is able to basically use her sword like a skateboard and basically just ride it to the ground. I don't know how that doesn't like shatter her legs, but yeah, I guess it's like the rule of cool, which is fine with me. But yeah, eventually they get attacked by more demons. I'm gonna be skipping a bunch of stuff, but eventually they come across one of the seals. So Liminal has these seals out there, and these demons that are working under Liminal. Liminal is able to basically control munes and stuff like puppets, and so he like captures people and then he controls them. Like I think he kills them and then he controls their corpses, and he's like basically demifies them, and he sends them out to break these seals. And you break the seals by spilling blood on them. And once all the seals are weakened and destroyed and broken, Liminal will be free, and he'll basically become like a god. And so they come across one of the seals, which has this woman there, and she has some scientists. I guess they're mutant researchers. She has a little small group of demons, and she's going to basically sacrifice these mutant researchers to break the seal. Dani and Magik start battling against this woman. We see a moment where Dani summons an illusion of this girl that causes the puppet to briefly stop temporarily, which allows Magik to slash at her. But eventually she's like, enough of this, and she just kills one of the researchers and breaks the seal. And Magik has to use her powers to try to hold the seal back, but she's not able to do so. And during so, she transforms a little bit. She doesn't fully become Darkchild, but she like grows the horns and her eyes glow red. And Dani has to tell her like, hey, you've always faced impossible situations, too much for most to handle, but you've always made the best choice you could. I trust you, but ultimately you need to trust yourself. And I'm going to be skipping a lot more pages, but we get to a moment where they're like at this base camp in Ecuador, and Magik and Dani are talking to each other. And Magik is basically explaining that she escaped limbo. She's wondering if she's forever doomed to repeat her past. Like, is she doomed to forever go back to limbo and be stuck there? Like, what if there's something wrong with her because of her time being in limbo? Just things like that. She has a bunch of worries. And so we have Dani talking to Cal, and Dani basically says, I trust Illyana, I trust Magik. She trusts you, and I trust her. But I don't trust Darkchild, and I have no clue how much of an influence Darkchild now holds over my friend. So I want you to watch her. And Cal is basically like, you want me to spy on her? Why would you want me to do that if you trust her? And Dani basically says that Magik is one of my oldest friends, but that means I've seen her lose herself to Darkchild. And despite her best efforts, I've seen those consequences. And I can trust my friend, but I don't trust Darkchild. I don't want her to know that I want you to spy on her, because I don't want her to misinterpret my intent. Unfortunately for Dani, Magik is in the other room, like right outside, and she has heard this entire thing, and she starts crying. So I guess there's going to be a fracture in that relationship. And probably now there's more of a foothold for Darkchild to grab onto, because now her best friend is not really trusting her. Like, she trusts her, but not Darkchild to take over. So, like, how much trust is that there? And the fact that she's going behind her back to get someone to spy on her. That basically kind of just destroys Magik. And that's how the issue ends. I'll say that this issue was pretty good. I think it was a bit better than previous issues. Mostly because it does what it focuses on what's my favorite part of the series, which is Magik fighting demons. Like, that's the whole thing that I want to read about. I don't know much about Magik. What little I know of her sounds cool. I know of her very briefly before the Marvel Rival games came out. Like, I knew a little bit about her, but not too much. I mostly know her from Marvel Rivals and Marvel Midnight Suns video game. And she's like one of my favorite characters in the video game. So as soon as I found out that she was getting her own series, I was like, okay, I want to check this out because I want to know more about her. And so far, it's been okay. But this issue was a lot better because it's what I want with Magik, which is her fighting demons. I want to see her fight demons. So we got her and Dani fighting demons, and I like the powers. The dynamic between them seems pretty interesting. Maybe it would be better if you knew more of their history, but I don't. So they come across like they're old friends, which I'm guessing is actually the case, but I've never read the New Mutants, like I said, so I don't know. But yeah, I thought this was pretty decent. It's Dani and Magik teaming up to battle demons. And that's pretty much what the entire issue is them fighting demons and Magik basically being easily agitated. I think it's mostly she's frustrated because part of her thinks that she made a bad decision with making a deal with Liminal. But another part of her was like, she was too scared of being trapped in another realm. Like she was already trapped once before in Limbo. She doesn't want to be trapped again. So she made that deal. And she believes that she can get control over Darkchild, but there's always that doubt. And now she has people telling her, she has associates. She has Cal and Dani telling her that she made a poor decision. So now she's second guessing herself. And so she's lashing out. I like the fact that we're doing stuff with the characters, like not just physically, but also like mentally and emotionally, because it's always good to have characters that are not just having external battles, but also internal battles. It makes them more interesting, in my opinion. Like that's one of my biggest problems with modern day characters, specifically modern day characters that are female or that are non-white. I say this because a lot of writers seem like, oh, we can't have female characters and we can't have non-white characters struggle because then it makes us look sexist or racist or something. So they go the opposite and they make the characters too strong. They make them too OP. They make them just like steamroll their opponents. They make them boring. It's always great to have characters with external and internal conflicts and battles and stuff that they have to overcome. So I like the fact that they're doing that with Magik here. It's not just Magik having to deal with demons and a godchild, but she also has to fight her own inner demons, like her own literal inner demons. So that's good. I like characters, again, with internal conflicts. So yeah, I'm kind of rambling, but this was pretty good. I like this issue. So that's Magik, issue number 4 from Marvel Comics. I enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.